Okay, I'm back and we're recording and we should be streaming also.
All right, you need to give me a call time and then we'll take
Yep.
roll.
It's 7:03 p.m. and we'll begin this meeting. Let's do roll call, please.
All right, Colby,
I'm here.
Robin, I'm here. Paige,
Here.
Tess,
Here.
Kevin is excused, Sean is excused, and Lee.
Let me look one more time. Don't see Lee. We'll have to excuse him.
Okay. All right, so we have 4 in attendance and 7 for the public. Okay,
All right, we'll do motion A to vote on these minutes.
all right,
Motion A, approve the GTLNC March 7th, 2022 Public Safety Committee minutes, full text of which can be found at gtlnc.org. Do I have any discussion on the matter from the board?
wait, I need a first. I think I
Okay.
heard Tess.
First,
Okay.
Tess first.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Colby,
Colby, thank you. Okay, discussion.
discussion from the board, and then we'll go to the public. I don't see any board hands up, so I'll go to stakeholders. Please raise your hand to comment or have a question on the motion A. Paul B, I see Paul, you are the,
Small point of order, Colby, is this
Yeah.
On the minutes only or public comment generally?
this is just on the minutes, and we're going to public comment after
Okay,
general public comment for the whole thing. This is just public comment for the minutes, nothing else.
okay.
Okay, I don't see any hands raised.
All right. Motion A to approve the GTLNC March 7th, 2022 Public Safety Committee minutes. Seeing none, hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you, Robin. We'll move into the public comment section. This is public comment generally for all public safety committee matters. Or anything else you really want to bring up?
Forgive
No
me,
restrictions.
Colby, do we vote on the minutes, approving the minutes, or did I miss that?
If there's no discussion, we could just go ahead and
So the minutes are deemed now approved.
correct.
Okay,
If
just,
somebody has any issue.
thank you.
Moving into public comment section. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, it's nice to see you all again. Thank you very much for being here, for having this. For my public comment, I would like to make a request of you that because time is of the essence, not in 2 months, not in 3 months, but even in the next general meeting, if you would consider the importance of what's going on, what has occurred at Sarah and Vineland, and prioritize it. You still have time to add something to your agenda. Actually, I don't know if it would be added. I didn't look at the agenda for the general meeting this month. But if you wouldn't mind to have the board vote on some form of actionable item, such as, at the very minimum, a letter to Council Member Krikarian highlighting the danger that was already pointed out before the murder, before the homicide, to the previous Council Member Ramon's field rep, who was named Mehmet, remember?
Yes,
We'd already discussed it with him, and then the murder happened. It's just, I don't live on the corner, but it's just not overlookable. It's such a huge event that was foreseeable because everything that occurred showed we knew there was a problem there. Nothing has happened. That's what our neighborhood council is for, is to unite our voice. I don't think there's anyone on the board that would object to more safety there. And principally, I see a barrier like a fence, because elimination of the drug scene going on there is a bigger step, but certainly a fence and the poured rocks, the hardscape. We were there, we looked at it. If you wouldn't mind to take that up in the next meeting of the general, in order to vote on something, that some voice come out of the neighborhood council regarding what has happened. It's just not, we haven't done anything. Nothing is in concrete. And I'm asking you to do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. A quick comment. Actually, Rob and I did add that to the agenda. If you look at the second page,
Thank you so
WTL,
much.
WTL underpass issues. Westwood Lake, that's the underpass that we're
No, I
discussing
mean,
tonight.
an action, I mean, you got
I
to
know,
vote
I know.
on it
We're
if you're going
starting
to
here
send
to
a
talk about
letter. But for the general meeting, you do need to vote. I mean, obviously, one person can't send the letter and have it represent the community, but that's our neighborhood council. So if you don't put it on the agenda for there to be a vote, the letter really can't go out. And I'm not even talking about it at CSI. I'm talking about a letter to
Well,
Krikarian.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think the technically most appropriate thing would be a request for action from Councilmember Krikorian. And I make a motion that we put it on the agenda and that we create an action item for the general board meeting. Do I have a first?
Excuse me, this is public
This is
comment.
public comment.
Okay.
That's why we put this on the agenda for later.
Okay,
Thank you all.
we
Appreciate
don't
it.
want to forget it for the general meeting. Thank
Oh.
you.
We're gonna discuss this test on the agenda, so we can
Okay.
talk
In
about
Thank
it.
about
you.
20 minutes.
Thanks.
Jonathan. Moving on to Paul B. Let me get you up here. I lost you. Here we go. Hi, Paul.
Hi, how are you? Good.
Good.
I would like to echo what Jonathan said. I do live on Sarah Street, right next to the area where this tragedy occurred. We do, Sarah serves as a pathway for a couple of encampments, one on Vineland and Sarah, and the other on Riverside and Sarah. It's been a danger for quite a while, and it's unfortunate that this keeps happening. And I know that when cleanups do happen, the problem always comes back. So I just like to echo what Jonathan said, and please keep it as utmost important to us. We in the neighborhood are, a lot of us are living in fear, and it's not right. It's not comfortable, and we'd like to see something done. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And I see Luis. Hello, Luis?
Hi there, Louis Galacci on Riverside Drive, just west of Vineland. You do want to echo, first time joining here, but really appreciate that you guys have on the agenda the discussion of those underpasses. We are in a crisis mode over here now with every encampment that was on Moore Park and Lancashire now at Riverside. Under the 134 along those embankments on the Caltrans property. It's pretty bad at this point. And I know that Vineland has been a huge focus, but the situation on Riverside now is the worst I've ever seen it in my 10 years living here. And I think that we just need action. And I think I really appreciate you guys taking it on. But we'll stick around for the agenda item, but really, this is, I think, probably one of the biggest issues right now concerning the community, and it's all focused in one area at this point. So thank you guys, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say later on in the agenda.
Thank you so much.
Um,
Any other public comment?
I see, I think it's Amelia Watson. She
Yes.
was
raise-
invited to join tonight's,
She just
yeah.
raised her hand,
She
yeah,
can
but-
speak on behalf of her issue.
Yep. Hi, Amelia.
Hello. Yeah, so I have been having some problems with the parking signs and like on the street that I live on. It's the 2-hour parking limit, and I went and got the District 55 preferential parking permit, but then noticed I was still getting my tires marked and got a few tickets after having the permit. So when I saw a guy marking my tires, I went up and I asked him today, like, why is that, even though I have the permit? And he pointed out that the signs on my street don't have the specific statement on them that says a parking permit, like, exempt. It's not on like that section of the street. So it's a 2-hour limit on the street where I live. And he said there's like nothing, you can only be exempt if you have a handicap pass. There's not any kind of permit for residents that live on that street, even though it is a very residential area. So I was wondering if there's a way we can get that changed, get this, like, either get the street signs changed where that section of the street is exempt from the permits or something like that, because I work from home, so my car is on the street all day, every day. So it's been a real struggle for me.
Okay.
And I believe that the street she's talking about is Whipple between Coanga and, is it Vineland or Coanga and Lancashire?
Coanga and Lancashire, yeah.
So that's the block right behind Harmony Church, right?
Mhm.
Correct.
Yep.
Curtis, do you have any quick, and this isn't exactly protocol, but while she's here, Curtis, do you have any quick comments about the parking, 55?
So the District 55 parking, the DOT officer, I didn't read the sign, but he is right that, or she is right that if you're handicapped, you can be exempt from that sign. However, to get other signs posted or different vernacular on the signs, you'd have to go to DOT and have it requested through there. And so you can either go straight to DOT or try contacting the council office and going that route. That's probably your best option. Unfortunately, we don't really control those signs as LAPD. That's all DOT's office.
Okay, thanks, Curtis. Yeah, so
So wait, Curtis, you said the DOT office?
Yeah.
Department of,
Oh, Department of Transportation.
yeah, I
or
just-
CD2, or CD2.
Or CD2?
Yeah, Amelia, I'll mention this to CD2, our councilperson's district office, and see what we can do. And please, I do have an email or two from you from before, and you do have your address in the email, right? I believe, or the block.
I have the block in the email, yeah.
Okay, good.
And Colby, would Steve Roston be an appropriate person to ask about this?
He would be. He's not on the call right now. At least I don't
Okay.
see him.
Well, Amelia, we can forward you his information as well. He's from the Department of Transportation.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Amelia. We'll get to work on this.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions under public comment? Don't see any hands raised, so we'll move forward to Officer Delbar.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So I'll jump into some crime stats. So year to date, our robberies are down about 27%. Our burglaries are up about 13%. Our grand theft autos or stolen vehicles are up 62%.
Wow.
Yeah, and our burglary from motor vehicles are down 13%. And our thefts are up about 53%. So after looking at some of the crimes in the areas and where they are occurring, what I'm finding is in Toluca Lake, I saw some things popping up about grand theft autos or stolen vehicles and burglary from vehicles. I got an email recently about another one that occurred in the area. Whether this is because people leave their car doors unlocked or people are using other methods to get into the cars, even if they are locked, is kind of unknown at this point. For the grand theft autos, again, it's very difficult to get in the car, period, if it's locked, and if it's starting the car is almost impossible unless you have the key to that car, for newer vehicles at least. For older vehicles, yeah, that's a different story. So again, just reiterating, trying to keep no items in your vehicles and trying to keep them locked as soon as possible, keeping a light on those cars, like shining on top of the car or somehow illuminating that vehicle so that there's no darkness hiding it. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is that I was at Vineland and Sarah earlier today, actually, walking around there now under the overpass, walking the area. So I saw a lot of trash there. I saw a couple encampments, but I did see a lot of trash that were not part of the encampments. So I would definitely reiterate to do the 311 request. I use it as well just for the trash pickup, doing what we can to try and keep it clean and trying to keep up that area as best as we can. But other than that, that's all I have for the report today. Unless there's any other questions.
And Curtis, you heard that the Jeep was found.
Yes, I actually just saw that email just before that Jeep, the specific color was found.
Yes.
A considerable short distance from where it was taken.
That's great.
Yes, that's amazing news.
Tess has her hand up. Hi, Tess.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you very, very much. I have a couple quick updates for you. The wandering Chevy Impala is now on Bellflower at the, let me see, the 40, hold on, I wrote it down here. It's at the 4600 block of Bellflower. It was moved from Sarah Street. So it was reported on March 30th to 311 and abandoned vehicles. Just wanted to flag that to your attention. We've also had a white van that is giving some neighbors some, I guess they have very small children and they're concerned about the person living in the van. I just asked them to get me more information. When I have it, I will let you know, although I recommended that they try to identify some of the lots in Los Angeles, which I knew were available by the city during COVID, protected overnight parking. So, and if I meet the person, the owner of the van, I will talk to him and just mention that to him and tell him. So there's that. And regarding the refuse and the piles of litter under the underpass, and we certainly thank you for keeping an eye on the area. I sent a very long, I sent an email to Tiffany in Krikorian's office, Councilmember Krikorian's office last night. I've been in touch with her. We have listed literally probably 30 311 requests, and many of them end up being declared closed with no action taken and no reason given. And what Tiffany replied to me in an email today is that, and I share this for the benefit of the people here who file 311 requests, apparently LA Sanitation will close out the 311 request for refuse removal if it's attached to an encampment. So I'm not really sure how that, I'll have to ask for more information there. So because members of the neighborhood have reported calling in 311 requests and then seeing that they're closed with no action taken. So that's a problem that we need to look at.
So there are some items under there that are not attached to encampments. Specifically, I saw like 6 or 7 drawers.
Okay, yeah, I
Those
saw that.
items I listed specifically in that 311 request as well. But from what I understand, if it is attached to an encampment, it's a voluntary compliance to have those items thrown away. And then
Okay.
as for the Chevy Impala, we are following that. Every time it moves, DOT has to be notified again, because if they go there on Sarah to that prior notification, it's not there, they will close out that incident as well. And then as for the white van, is this the one that you sent me a while ago, I believe?
I don't think it's the same one. I think it's a new one, but I will double check, because I asked my neighbors to send me the details I asked them to send me the details.
Because I did make contact with an owner of one of the white vans. It could be the same one, it may not be.
Okay.
And no one's living in that van.
Really? Okay, well, I will get the license plate number and send it to you. And if you can confirm if there's someone living in it or not, then we'll go from there. Okay.
Yeah, we'll double check that one.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
I see Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Hello. I was just wondering if Officer Delbar had any information on the, I guess, suspicious package that had a good portion of Vineland blocked off by the 101 today. If all of that is completely resolved, if there's any additional information on what it ended up being.
Oh yeah, of course, Catherine. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was actually at that scene before I came here for about 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, I was also at that scene for about 3 or 4 hours.
Yes, I was over on Moore Park and Vineland at that scene. So there was a suspicious package found by the fire station. Our bomb squad got there and they did their investigation utilizing a robot and some other resources that they have. From what I can tell, it didn't seem like much of anything. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear any explosions or anything like that. But again, I was on Moore Park and Vineland. So from what it looks like to me, it doesn't sound like there was much of anything in there that would be concerning. But I can't find out more information as far as what was actually in the actual package.
Okay, I mean, if it ended up not being an actual dangerous item, that's fine. I was just curious if there was any information.
Yeah, and that's all I have for now. But I didn't hear anything, so I can assume that it wasn't any kind of explosive device, but I'll definitely double check that.
Great, thank you so much.
I'm looking for more hands raised. If not, we'll move forward. And Officer Delbar, if we do move forward, would you mind staying on a few more minutes till we can talk about MEUs and more about the West Toluca Lake underpass issues a little
Sure.
later on in the meeting, 15 minutes. So are you available then?
Yeah, I can stay on about 15 more minutes.
Okay, good. We'll move forward quickly. I don't see Tiffany from CD2 in the arena. No, I don't see you. Robin, watch lead for Neighborhood Watch.
Neighborhood Watch, we're still looking for watch captains for various streets that are unmanned. And actually, the Neighborhood Watch and the homeowners are working on something to kind of bridge the two organizations together. So I'll have more information on that maybe at the next meeting, but there's some talk about how we may work together. So
Great.
that's
Thanks,
it.
Rob. Okay, good. We can get back to Officer Delbar. Oh, any other comments from the stakeholders? No? Okay. We'll move forward to ongoing business. And Officer Delbar, would you mind, you explained to me several months ago about MEUs, the mental evaluation units regarding unhoused people. Could you just refresh our memories on that program?
Sure. So we have a MEU unit, or mental evaluation unit, which can be deployed throughout the city. And it's not just used for homeless people, it's used for all people with mental health concerns or issues. What they can do is they can help get them to a hospital where they can see a doctor to help them through their issues or their concerns, or even a therapist to speak to, or social to speak. Sorry, my brain's a little fried right now in the sun. Just to speak with and help them through their concerns, their issues, even with some medicine if that's what is needed for their issues. So it is just different.
Like we have a recurring issue on my street, as you're aware, and I first heard about this last year, I think, from you and essentially, if you have a repeat customer, in a way, this is a way to maybe stop the revolving door, right? From just having them immediately released and back on the street.
So our MEU unit, as far as putting people on holds, is they have very certain criteria that they have to go by. They have to be a danger to themselves, a danger to others, or gravely disabled. Once that is determined at that moment, one of those criteria is met, they can be put on a hold for up to 72 hours. And then get some more help with their issues and their concerns. So that is a possible avenue to go by. However, if they don't meet those concerns, there's not a lot they can do other than voluntary persuasion.
Okay. And would someone who's a victim, let's say, of a burglary, or someone who's been the victim of somebody breaking into their house repeatedly or being harassed by someone like that, would they reach out to the officer who responds and request an MEU situation, or would that happen automatically?
So that can be requested. However, some of the things that you're describing are property crimes and not violent crimes. Not saying that they can't lead to violent crimes. So an MEU wouldn't be too involved in this, but they can have at least some notifications and be put on their radar as far as what's going on with this particular person.
Okay, so it would help if someone mentioned MEU to an officer.
Oh yeah, no, MEU is always a good resource, a very good resource to use. It's another avenue where sometimes if criminal actions are not being effective, an MEU could be a good resource to use.
Okay. Any questions about MEUs and the like for Officer Delbar from the public or from board members? If not, we'll keep Officer Delbar here another minute, and we'll move to the West Hoop Lake underpass issues. I'm sure it'll be a lot more involved. Officer Delbar, what do you suggest we do as a committee or as a board to address this horrible homicide and to any other crime that is taking place in this Sarah and Vineland area? What kind of letter should we write, or what ideas do you have to dissuade crime in this area?
So I know it sounds a little repetitive, but lighting really does help. And you do have some street lighting up in that area. But lighting is always good. And even if personal residents want to put lighting on their own homes to light up the street more, that's obviously more than welcome to do. It
Okay,
depends. Sorry?
Go ahead.
No, so it also depends on what you guys want in the community, even as far as like beautification goes. What you guys want to see in your community, what you want as far as bushes, rocks, some of these concealed things, others are, a hard landscape to be on or to walk on. It depends on what you guys want, aesthetically.
Like big boulders or something like that would make it an impediment to set up those.
Yeah, and then this is all, your community. I don't live in your community. This is where you guys reside. So it's really comes down to you as far as what you guys want, and sometimes also what the city can help with.
Okay. Do any board or stakeholders have any questions or comments? I know this is probably the most important issue we're facing tonight for Officer Delbar.
Sure. Officer Delbar, thank you so much for your continued help with this. We've sent very detailed, numerous requests to Councilmember Krikorian's office. And given there's a very high bar for anything to be done with an encampment, but my position is that other city services don't have to halt because of that. And we've had lights out at that underpass for several years now. And this has been repeatedly brought to the attention of the council member's office. It was previously Councilmember Rahman, now it's Krikorian. And they say that Bureau of Streetlights is behind in updating them, and because there's been so much copper wire theft, et cetera. But I did a walkthrough of the area last week, and I didn't observe any problems with copper wire theft or breakage of any kind. To me, it looks like a simple get on a ladder and change a light bulb. Now, I could be wrong, but I see no physical damage. I see nothing broken, and I don't see the basis or understand the basis for waiting many, many weeks to perform a repair that may be as simple as changing several light bulbs, literally that simple. So I'm in touch with them about that. But our community there's been a lot of emails going back and forth today about this. And we're finally, enough people are, I would say, annoyed enough at this point that we're really focusing even more attention on this, and the service requests that constantly get filed, and many of them aren't fulfilled with no explanation given. I got somewhat of an explanation today. So we're working on the lighting issue for sure. And for those members of our community, and just in general, we appreciate any help to focus attention on this problem, because the area is just so, it's out of control. And we did a neighborhood cleanup 2 months ago, and the same day that we cleaned the area of Riverside that Louis Scalacci mentioned, that same day, a whole bunch of people moved in and took over that embankment, and they laughed at us and called us their maids. So we literally moved, and I'm not joking, 30 huge bags of trash, like massive. So this is not for lack of effort on the part of our community, a concerted effort. So that's an update. We are in touch with Jackie Keene about beautification. We have discussed the design with her predecessor, Mehmet, from Nithya Rahman's office. And I'm going to request a meeting with her this week and see if we can't, bump up in the queue somehow. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem, Tess. Just with the street lighting, I know it's frustrating. Just keep in mind that, the city council are not the ones that are getting up on the ladders and changing the bulbs.
I will.
They can only put requests in,
Mhm.
and it's up to the Bureau of Street Lighting whether to change that bulb, and they are the entity for that.
Mhm.
The city council is more of like a intermediary entity, just to help with the
Yes.
communication between the two parties.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
It's a shame the light fixture's there and it's probably not in danger of being stripped out for its copper wire because it's 20 feet,
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So
Lighting's already there.
anyway,
I see Lewis.
Yeah, Officer Dunbar, thank you so much again for the information here. But curious, I think what we're suffering from, especially on Riverside, is a fundamental lack of organization when it comes to the different agencies that handle the river, the wash, the embankments, and the street. And we saw that coordination when they cleared Moore Park. It was posted yesterday with the 4118 signage. Those folks that day moved to Riverside. And so now what we have is obviously, the sidewalks have the trash, but not the encampments. The encampments are on Caltrans property. What role? Clearly trespassing, like let's just start with trespassing. And I know the concerns we may have with the district attorney and trespassing laws. However, at what point can we organize ourselves with CHP to have the folks that are clearly trespassing on Caltrans property moved? Like how do we get a better coordinated effort when we're dealing with so many jurisdictions, I guess? Because I think that's what our issue is we drive past it every day, we see it, but they're over there and it's not my problem. And right now it's literally out of control. There's no excuse for this except we don't have coordination.
So I believe Caltrans actually has a website similar to like a 311 notification where you can put those requests in. As far as coordinating it, that is one of the council offices items that they can to help with coordination. It's not an easy coordination getting that many entities together. Like for instance, the one you preferenced on Moore Park and Bellflower.
Mhm.
That was quite an extensive display right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, keep in mind that say, for instance, CHP does come and enforces the trespassing on the state property, they all leave, they will probably come back onto the city property as well if they're trespassing on the state property.
Right. Hence the lack of coordination, I guess. I mean, how do we make sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, actually, Luis, it's funny you mentioned this. We're going to dovetail into our next item in a minute, which is the Homelessness Services Guide. A stakeholder named Luis Oliart in Studio City created a guide to address this issue you're having several months ago. He's been a guest of ours several times. And we actually, Paige, who will speak in a few minutes, is actually helping to modify his homelessness services guide that he created for Studio City for Toluca Lake, which will offer that coordination, essentially.
Nice.
They'll tell you who to call for what areas and what issues.
So a quick side issue for Paige. I just got some more notifications for the what's it called? The suspicious package on Vineland. And there was nothing in those packages at all. Nothing.
good.
Yeah, it is good. Yes, there was absolutely nothing in those packages whatsoever.
You mean the bomb threat or the bomb
Correct.
response? Okay, good. That's a relief. I see Jonathan. Luis, Louis, is that, I mean, we haven't answered your question, but we're working on it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
understood.
So yeah, Luis,
It
we
is a
are
very
working on that one.
complicated patchwork. It's like a quilt and it's very confusing, and you're not the only one who's had issues. Many other people have. Jonathan?
Am I muted? Yep, okay. Officer Delbar, thank you for coming. I'm always happy that you're here to represent the police. Because you are from the police, I realize you don't set policy, but I don't think we should be having a conversation that isn't cognizant of everything going on in the world, that the United States is not the first country to be experiencing what's happened right now in Los Angeles with all of this unlawfulness occurring on the streets. For example, Amsterdam had the identical problem. And the way, and the only way they found themselves out of it wasn't because of the winter time, the cold weather, anything you might think that's benevolent in nature. It was because they started arresting people for open use of drugs, for defecating in the streets, for doing anything we understand in our civilized society to be illegal. They started arresting people. And that's what cleaned up the problems that they were having in their streets, because they became recognized as open drug use scenes, because most of the homeless find themselves into shelters at this point. So again, I realize that Officer Delbar isn't the one deciding policy for Los Angeles, but our conversation has to rise beyond lamenting what we know is in place and is a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Are there any other comments?
I will say that, and some of the people here today may know this, but Tiffany looped in, and we're already in touch with the Assembly member's office regarding Caltrans, and there was some delay in some response to previous service requests because Emma Taylor has moved over to, she's moved from Assembly member Nazarian's office to Council member Nithya Raman's office. And now we've got Steve Ferguson and a young lady, I think by the name of Sonia, I forget her last name. So we're at least coordinating somewhat between Caltrans and the city. But yeah, it's just, you know, when we have housing, you know, the tiny houses, as I understand it, they're not fully occupied. And I don't know what that was, but the tiny homes are not fully occupied. And so, you know, it becomes a problem. We have places and people don't necessarily want to go there. Then what do? We're stuck. So we're working on it.
Thanks, Tess. And thank you, Officer Delbar. I think we'd love you to hold on, but I understand if you have to go out there and do your job. Paige, do you want to discuss the Homelessness Services Guide?
Well, there is not a big update at the moment. Tess and I are kind of working. Thank you to Tess actually for volunteering to help kind of move that across the finish line. We are working on a draft of it. Our outreach meeting is later this week. And so that will be hopefully where we're going to make some progress on that and then have something to report back at the general board meeting.
Great. How many pages do you think it'll, I mean, is there a way to distill the information down to one page, or do you think?
Well, that's the whole idea.
The challenge. Yeah. I mean, I think there isn't a great way. I think the end result will be that we'll have to have two versions. We'll have to have a version that mimics the Studio City guide. That's, you know, probably several slides, and maybe that's only a digital version that we share with people when we get, you know, questions at this meeting. Maybe we can make it available on the website. And then, you know, as far as an actual handout that can be reduced down to one page, you know, that'll be the challenge, I think, figuring out what the most critical information is. And then also how small is practical. You know, Tessa's idea was have something that's like a business card size so that we could really create a lot of them and distribute them easily. But obviously there's a very limited amount of information that you can fit on something that size. So I think we're trying to find the right balance of something that can be, you know, easy to distribute, but also still helpful. So,
or maybe like I think you might have mentioned before, Tess was mentioning maybe some kind of a QR scan or something like that that can be posted around that could then link.
Go right to
to that. I've spoken to one or two business owners, and they'd be happy actually to have pamphlets in their, you know, by the door of their businesses to address this. I was just getting a feel because we're running toward the end of our fiscal year.
Yeah.
And I want to budget in, if I can, some money if we're able to, you know, print something up.
Yeah. That would be great. And, you know, at a minimum, when you talk to people, and I mean, I know a lot of the regulars here I talk to all the time, you know, people without shelter. I check in with them, and new people I don't recognize. I just ask them, you know, can I, you know, do you have a place to stay? Can I help? You know, can I help you? And I have these in my pocket. And some are receptive, some aren't, and you can only try. So we'll get that together, Paige, and have something to present.
Great, because that'll probably be the crown jewel of I think of our committee. I have a feeling it could be. Thank you for all your work. I really appreciate that, and of course the community does too. Any comments from the rest of the board or the stakeholders regarding the homelessness services guide?
Just thank you both for working so hard on
Thank
this.
you. It's not easy. I looked at it before, and I was trying to manipulate it a little bit, and it's not as easy as I thought it would be to change it over to Bucco Lake. Robin, do you want to discuss lighted safety vests, or we've been looking at that. We saw the ones on Amazon, but
Yeah,
the ones on Amazon can't be imprinted with our logo, so we have to
these
move.
vests, yeah, we're still have to do some more research to see if we can find a company that would actually make the vests so that we could add our logo to it. And there is a company that Colby found. It's just that they're much more pricey. So
But they're just reflective. I think they were 15 each around there. I'll
Are they
look again, but they
imprinting?
didn't light up. They were just reflective.
Oh no, these are lighted and
Yeah.
they require a battery. They're really cool vests. I just, Colby, they have to be imprinted. We can't
Yeah,
just put a sticker on
I
it.
talked to Don, and they were adamant that they have to be imprinted. Not only that, the logo has to be a certain size. Anything we do for outreach like that has to have our logo.
Yeah, I don't know with the lights on that, because it's really just a reflective strip that has little lights that are inserted in the strip. I don't know where on the vest that I saw a logo could actually be stamped or embroidered or whatever on it. So I just don't know. I don't know if there's a earthquake preparedness or some sort of company that we might be able to locate that could actually brand these kind of vests. But I think
obviously more into Google, and number two, if it's better if it's not an illuminated vest, battery illuminated, a reflective vest might be.
a reflective.
I know we can get a reflective vest with the logo on it.
Yeah, okay,
That or imprint company. That I saw.
okay. So we could do that. We just
As
do it
backup,
with
we could
the
do that.
lights.
Yeah, we can do that. Any other ideas? I'm welcome to listen to stakeholders, of course, about this too, if you have ideas regarding these vests or from committee members.
I think it's a great idea. And if we save any lives, that will be wonderful. And well done, Robin.
It was just a suggestion. And, if, like you said, if we can save lives, I do know that the streets of Toluca Lake are very dark. And generally, I can't even see people when I'm driving. So, if somebody's walking on the street as they do without any sort of flashlight or reflective tennis shoe or something on their body, they're likely to get hit if they're not careful, if they're not watching. So I think these lighted vests would be a wonderful thing to give out when we can finally meet up again. Maybe, I know at Earth Day, we always handed out various branded items. It would be so nice for outreach to have something for the next time that we meet in person.
Yeah, it's both public safety and outreach. It's a great
Yeah.
synergy between the two committees. Okay, we'll move on to new business. Does anybody have new business to bring up? No? Okay, I'm happy to hear from the stakeholders regarding new business. Please raise your hand. All right, I don't hear anybody or see anybody. Robin, do you have anything else to add at the last minute here?
Did I mention that Tony Carey is no longer on the committee? Tony reached out and said that he loved the committee. He's been on it for years, but he needs to take a break. And if we ever need him back, he's happy to come back on. But that's why he was not on the committee tonight.
Rats. Well, when did he leave?
Well, I think he reached out just after the last meeting. And he said, he really likes what everybody's doing, and he really feels like there's great synergy within this group, but he just, between work and other stuff that he's part of, he just doesn't have the time. So.
All right.
He thanked everybody for working hard.
I hope we'll see him around.
I'm
Good.
sure we will. He's not going anywhere.
All right, well, we'll call the meeting, right, Robin? The 7:48 PM?
7:48. Yep, our next meeting is Monday, May 2nd, 7 PM. Thank you all.
You know
and-
what, I think I mentioned it, but in case I didn't, next cleaning, West Toluca Lake Neighborhood Cleanup this Saturday, April 9th, 9 AM, 11241 Kling Street. And I can be reached via the Neighborhood Council website if somebody wants details. Thank you.
One more thing, Toluca Lake Elementary School is doing a planting on Saturday, April 9th at 9 AM. The Toluca Lake Garden Club and the homeowners and the chamber, there are several people that are coming to volunteer to do some planting in front of the school. So if you're around and you want to, dig holes and plant plants, that's this Saturday, Toluca Lake Elementary.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tess. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our stakeholders for all your input. And
Good night.
we'll see you back on May 2nd at
All
7
right.
PM for our next public safety meeting.
Good night.